The sixth proof. The ninth truth of the 10th word. The gate of God's bestowal of life and death, the manifestation of the names of eternal living and self-subsistent and giver of life and giver of death. Is it at all possible that the one who gives life to this vast dead and dry earth, who in so doing demonstrates his power by deploying more than 300,000 different forms of creation, each of them as remarkable as man, who further demonstrates in this deployment his all-embracing knowledge by the infinite distinctions and differentiations he makes in the complex intermingling of all of those forms, who directs the gaze of all his slaves to everlasting bliss by promising them resurrection in all of his heavenly decrees, who demonstrates the splendor of his domicility by causing all of his creation to collaborate with one another, to revolve within the circle of his command and his will, to aid one another and be submitted to him, who shows the importance he has given to man by creating him as the most comprehensive, the most precious and delicate, the most valued and valuable fruit on the tree of creation by addressing him without intermediary and subjugating all things to him. Is that all possible that so compassionate and powerful a one, so wise and all-knowing a one, should not bring about resurrection, should not gather his creatures together, or be unable to do so, should not restore man to life, or be unable to do so, should not be able to inaugurate his certain court, should not be able to create heaven and hell? Nay, indeed, by no means is any of this possible. Indeed, the Almighty Disposer of this world's affairs creates in every century, every year, and every day on the narrow and transcendent face of the globe numerous signs, examples, and indications of the sudden gathering and the plane of resurrection. Thus, in the gathering that takes place every spring, we see that in the course of 5 or 6 days, more than 300,000 different kinds of animal and plant are first gathered together and then dispersed. The roots of all the trees and plants, as well as some animals, are revived and restored exactly as they were. The other animals are recreated in a form so similar as to be almost identical. The seeds, which appear in their outward form to be so close to each other, nonetheless, in the course of 6 days or 6 weeks, become distinct and differentiated from each other, and then, with extreme speed, ease, and facility, are brought to life in the utmost order and equilibrium. Is it at all possible that for the one who does all of these anything should be difficult, that he should be unable to create the heavens and the earth in 6 days, that he should be unable to resurrect man with a single blast? No, by no means is it possible. Let us suppose there were to be some gifted writer who could write out in a single hour the confused and obliterated letters of 300,000 books on a single sheet without any error, omission, or defect, complete and in the best form. If someone were then to say to you that writer could write out again from memory a book written by him that had fallen into the water and become obliterated, would you then say that he is unable, and would you not believe in his ability? Or think of some talented king who, in order to demonstrate his power, or for the sake of providing a warning example, removes whole mountains with a single command, turns his realm upside down, and transforms the sea into dry land. Then you see that a great rock rolls down into a valley, so that the path is blocked for guests traveling to attend the king's reception, and they are unable to pass. If someone should say to you that exalted one will remove or dissolve the stone, however great it may be, with a single command, he will not leave his guest stranded, would you then say that he will not remove the stone, or be unable to do so? Or if someone one day should gather together a great army, and you are then informed that he will summon its battalions together with a blast of the trumpet, after they had dispersed to rest, and the battalions will form up in disciplined shape, would you respond by saying, I don't believe it? Were you to say any of these things, your behavior would truly be madness. If you have understood these three parables, now look further and see how the pre-eternal designer turns over in front of our eyes the white page of winter and opens the green pages of spring and summer. Then he inscribes on the page of the earth's surface with the pen of power and destiny in the most beautiful form more than 300,000 species of creation. Not one encroaches upon another. He writes them all together, but none blocks the path of another. In their formation and shape, each is kept separate from the other without any confusion. There is no error in the writing. That wise and preserving one who preserves and inserts the spirit of a great tree in the smallest seed, no bigger than a dot, is it permissible even to ask how he preserves the spirits of those who die? That powerful one who causes the globe to revolve like a pebble in a sling, is it permissible even to ask how he will remove this globe from the path of his guests who are traveling to meet him in the hereafter? Again, the one of glorious essence who from non-being recruits anew and inscribes into his battalions with the command of be, and behold it is, and with utmost discipline the troops of all living things, the very particles of all of their bodies, and thus creates highly disciplined armies. Is it permissible even to ask how he can make bodies submit to his discipline like a battalion? How he can gather together their mutually acquainted fundamental particles and their component members? You can, moreover, behold with your own eyes the numerous designs made by God as signs, smiles, and indications of resurrection, designs placed by him in every age and epoch of the world, in the alternation of day and night, even in the appearance and disappearance of clouds in the sky. If you imagine yourself to have been living 1,000 years ago, and then compare with each other the two wings of time that are the past and the future, then you will behold smiles of the gathering and indications of resurrection as numerous as the centuries and days. If, then after witnessing so many smiles and indications, you regard corporeal resurrection as improbable and rationally unacceptable, know your behavior to be pure lunacy. See what the Supreme Decree says concerning the truth we are discussing. Look upon the signs of God's mercy and see how he restores life to the earth after its death. Verily, he it is who shall bring to life the dead, and he is powerful over all things. In short, there is nothing that makes impossible the gathering of resurrection, and much that necessitates it. The glorious and eternal dominicality, the almighty and all-embracing sovereignty of the one who gives life and death to this vast and wondrous earth, as if it were a mere animal who has made of this earth a pleasing cradle, a fine sheep for man and the animals, who has made of the sun a lamp furnishing light and heat to the hostel of the world, who has made of the planets vehicles for the conveyance of his angels. The dominicality and sovereignty of such a one cannot rest upon and be restricted to the transitory, impermanent, unstable, insignificant, changeable, unlasting, deficient, and imperfect affairs of this world. He must, therefore, have another realm, one worthy of him, permanent, stable, immutable, and glorious. Indeed, he does have another kingdom, and it is for the sake of this that he causes us to labor, and to this that he summons us. All those of illuminate spirits who have penetrated from outer appearances to truth, and have been ennobled with proximity to the divine presence, all the spiritual powers endowed with luminous hearts, all the possessors of lucent intelligence, all bear witness that he will transfer us to that other kingdom. They inform us unanimously that he has prepared for us their reward and requital, and relate that he is repeatedly giving us firm promises and stern warnings. As for the breaking of a promise, it is baseless and utter humiliation. It cannot in any way be reconciled with the glory of His sanctity. Similarly, failure to fulfill a threat arises either from forgiveness or powerlessness. Now, unbelief is extreme crime and cannot be forgiven. Note, unbelief denounces creation for alleged worthlessness and meaninglessness. It is an insult to all of creation, a denial of the manifestation of the divine names in the mirror of beings. It is disrespect to all the divine names and rejection of the witness borne to the divine unity by all beings. It is a denial for all creation. It corrupts man's potentialities in such a way that they are incapable of reform and unreceptive to good. Unbelief is also an act of utter injustice, a transgression against all of creation and the rights of God's names. The preservation of those rights, as well as the unredeemable nature of the unbeliever's soul, make it necessary that unbelief should be unpardonable. The words, "to assign partners to God is verily a great transgression," express this meaning. The absolutely omnipotent One is exempt of and exalted above all powerlessness. Those who bring us their testimony and report, despite all the differences in their methods, temperaments, and paths, are totally unanimous and agreed on this basic matter. By their number, they have the authority of unanimity. By their quality, they have the authority of learned consensus. By their rank, each one is a guiding star of mankind, the cherished eye of a people, the object of a nation's veneration. By their importance, each one is an expert and an authority in the matter. In any art or science, 2 experts are preferred to thousands of non-experts, and 2 positive affirmers are preferred to thousands of negators in the transmission of a report. For example, the testimony of 2 men affirming the sighting of the crescent moon at the beginning of Ramadan totally nullifies the negation of thousands of deniers. In short, in the whole world, there is no truer report, no firmer claim, no more apparent truth than this. The world is without doubt a field, and the resurrection a threshing floor, a harvest. Paradise and hell are each storehouses for the grain. The 7th proof, the 17th window of the 33rd word. Indeed, in the heavens and earth are signs for those who believe. If we observe the face of the earth in the summer, we see that an absolute munificence and liberality which necessitate confusion and disarrangements is to be seen within a total harmony and order. Look at all the plants which adorn the face of the earth, and the utter speed in the creation of things which necessitates imbalance and disorder is apparent within a perfect equilibrium. Look at all the fruits which decorate the face of the earth, and an absolute multiplicity which necessitates unimpotence, indeed, ugliness, is apparent within a perfect beauty of art. Look at all the flowers which gild the face of the earth, and the absolute ease in the creation of things which necessitates lack of art and simplicity is to be seen within an infinite art and skill and attention. Look carefully at all seeds which are like the tiny containers and programs of the members of plants and trees and the small cases containing their life histories, and the great distances which necessitate difference and diversity appear within an correspondence and conformity. Look at all the varieties of cereal grains sown in every part of the earth, and the total intermingling which necessitates confusion and muddle is on the contrary to be seen within a perfect differentiation and separation. Consider the perfect differentiation of seeds when they sprout, despite being cast into the earth, all mixed up together and all resembling one another with regard to their substance, and the various substances which enter trees being separated out perfectly for the leaves, flowers, and fruits, and the foods which enter the stomach, all mixed up together, being separated out perfectly according to the various members and cells. See the perfect power within the perfect wisdom, and the great abundance and infinite provision which necessitate unimportance and worthlessness are to be seen as most valuable and expensive in regard to the creatures and art on the face of the earth. Within these innumerable wonders of art, consider only the varieties of mulberry, those confections of divine power on the table of the all-merciful One on the face of the earth. See then within the perfect mercy the perfect art. Thus, just as the day shows the light, and the light the sun, the great value together with the outer profusion, and the boundless intermingling and intermixing together with the utmost differentiation and separation within the outer profusion, and the great distance together with the utmost conformity and resemblance within the limitless differentiation and separation, and the infinite ease and facility together with the infinite care in the making within the utmost resemblance, and the absolute speed and rapidity together with the total equilibrium and balance and lack of waste within the most beautiful making, and the infinite abundance and multiplicity together with the highest degree of beauty of art within utter lack of waste, and the utmost magnificence together with absolute order within the highest degree of beauty of art, all testify to the necessary excellence, perfect power, beautiful dominicality, and unity and oneness of an all-powerful One of glory, and all-wise One of perfection, and all compassionate and beauty is one. They demonstrate the meaning of the verse. His are the most beautiful names. So now, O you ignorant, heedless, obstinate wretch, with what can you interpret this mighty truth? With what can you explain this infinitely miraculous and wonderful state of affairs? To what can you attribute these truly extraordinary arts? What veil of heedlessness can you draw across this window as broad as the earth and so close it? Where is your chance and coincidence, your unconscious companion on which you rely and call nature your friend and support in misguidance? It is totally impossible for chance and coincidence to interfere in these matters, isn't it? And to attribute to nature 1,000th of them is impossible 1,000 times over, isn't it? Or does lifeless, impotent nature have immaterial machines and printing presses within each single thing, made from each and to the number of each? The eighth proof. A supplication. This eighth proof of the fundamentals of belief offers evidence for the necessary existence and unity of God, and certain proofs of the comprehensiveness of dominicality and the immensity of divine power. It proves too both the comprehensiveness of divine sovereignty and the extensiveness of divine mercy and the encompassments of divine knowledge, and the fact that divine wisdom embraces all the beings of the universe. In short, each of the 8 premises of this 8th proof of belief has 8 conclusions. Proving the 8 conclusions of each through their evidences, this 8th proof has high value. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. Behold, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, in the alternation of night and the day, in the sailing of the ships through the oceans for the profit of mankind, in the rain which God sends down from the skies, and the life He gives therewith to an earth that is dead, in the beasts of all kinds that He scatters through the earth, in the disposal of the winds and the clouds subjugated between the sky and the earth, indeed are signs for people who think. My God and Sustainer, I see through the eyes of belief the instruction and light of the Qur'an, the teachings of God's noble messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, and the indications of the name of all-wise, that in the heavens there are no rotations and motions, but through their order and regularity they point to your existence. There is no heavenly body, but through its silently performing its duty and remaining in place without prop, it testifies to your dominicality and unity. There is no star but through its balanced creation, regular position, luminous smile, and the stamp of its similarity to the other stars, it indicates the majesty of your Godhead and your unity. There is not one of the 12 planets, but through its wise motion, docile subjection, orderly duties, and significant satellites, it testifies to your necessary existence and indicates the sovereignty of your Godhead. Yes, O Creator of the heavens and earth, who directs and administers all particles together with all the orderly components they make up, and spins the planets and their regular satellites, subjugating them to his command, just as each of the inhabitants of the heavens testifies on its own, so in their totality they testify to your necessary existence and unity in a way so clear and powerful that shining proofs to the number of stars in the heavens affirm that testimony. Also, appearing as a regular army or imperial fleet decked out with electric lights, the limpid, beautiful, spotless heavens with their extraordinarily huge and speedy bodies point clearly to the splendor of your dominicality and tremendousness of your power, which creates all things, and to the boundless extent of your sovereignty, which overspreads the heavens, and to your mercy, which embraces all living things, and testifies indubitably to the comprehensiveness of your knowledge, which is concerned with all the states and circumstances of all the creatures of the heavens, and embraces them and orders them, and to your wisdom, which encompasses all things. This testimony is so evident it is as though the stars are the words and luminous embodiments of the sky's testimony. Also, like disciplined soldiers, orderly ships, wondrous aeroplanes, or marvelous lamps, the stars in the arena of the heavens and in their seas and vast spaces show the glittering splendor of the sovereignty of your Godhead. As is suggested by the duties of the sun, one star among the members of that army, which are related to its planets and our earth, some of its companions, the other stars, look to the worlds of the hereafter and are not without duties. They are the sons of eternal worlds. O necessarily extant, O single one of unity. These wondrous stars, these strange suns and moons are subjugated, set in order, and employed in your dominions, in your heavens, through your command, power, and strength, and your administration and direction. All those heavenly bodies glorify and exalt their single creator who creates, spins, and administers them. Through the tongue of disposition, they declare, "Glory be to God. God is most great." Through all their glorifications, I too declare you holy. O omnipotent one of glory, hidden in the intensity of his manifestation and concealed in the magnificence of his grandeur. O one of absolute power. I have understood through the teaching of the all-wise Qur'an and instruction of your most noble messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, that just as the heavens and stars testify to your existence and unity, so with its clouds, lightning, thunder, winds, and rain does the atmosphere testify to your necessary existence and unity. Yes, the lifeless, unconscious clouds sending the water of life, rain, to the assistance of needy living beings is only through your mercy and wisdom. Confused chance could in no way interfere. The most powerful of electricity, lightning, which alluding to its potentiality for lighting, encourages man to benefit from it and spectacularly lights up your power in space. The thunder announces the coming of rain, causing boundless space to speak, and makes the heavens ring out with the reverberations of its glorifying. It hallows you verbally, testifying to your dominicality. The winds, which are charged with numerous duties like providing the sustenance most vital for animate creatures and the easiest to benefit from, and ensuring and facilitating respiration for some purpose, turn the atmosphere into a tablet for writing and erasing, thus pointing to the activity of your power and testifying to your existence. Similarly, the mercy milked through your compassion from the clouds and sent to living beings testifies through the words of its balanced, orderly droplets to the breath of your mercy and compassion. O potent and active disposer, O sublime and bountiful bestower, the clouds, lightning, thunder, wind, and rain each testify on their own to your necessary extents, so too, as a whole, being one within the other and assisting each other in their duties, although they are by nature dissimilar and opposed to each other, they indicate most powerfully your unity. They point too to the magnificence of your dominicality, which makes the vast atmosphere into an exhibition of wonders, on some days filling and emptying it several times, and to the immensity and all-pervasiveness of your power, which makes it resemble a slate which is written on then rubbed clean, and wrings it out like a sponge, and waters the garden of the earth, and to your unbounded mercy and limitless rule, which under the veil of the atmosphere administer all the earth and all creatures. Moreover, the air is employed in duties so wise, and the clouds and rain utilized in benefits so perspicuous, that if it was not for a knowledge and wisdom that encompass all things, they could not be thus employed. O you who acts as he wishes, through your activity in the atmosphere, your power which continuously displays examples of the resurrection of the dead, and great gathering, and transforms the summer into winter, and winter into summer, and similar acts, gives the sign that it will transform this world into the hereafter, and there display its everlasting acts. O all-powerful one of glory, the air, clouds, rain, and thunder, and lightning in the atmosphere are subjugated and employed in your dominions through your command and power and strength. These creatures, which by nature are so different to each other, sanctify their ruler and commander, who makes them submit instantaneously to his swift commands. They praise and extol his mercy. O glorious creature of the heavens and earth, through the instruction of the all-wise Qur'an and teaching of God's noble messenger, peace and blessings be upon him, I believe and know that just as the heavens testify to your necessary existence and unity through its stars, and the atmosphere testifies through all it contains, so the earth testifies to your existence and unity through all its creatures and states. Indeed, there is no change on the earth such as that of the trees and animals changing their garb every year, but through its orderliness it indicates your existence and unity. There is no animal but through its sustenance being compassionately provided in relation to its needs and weakness, and its being given all the members and faculties necessary to pursue its life, it testifies to your existence and unity. There is not a plant or animal created before our eyes in the spring that through its wondrous art, its subtle adornment, its being distinguished from all other creatures, and through its order and balance, it makes you known. The marvels of your power which fill the earth and are known as plants and animals, and their creation from seeds and grains and droplets of fluid, perfectly, without error, in adorned fashion, each with its distinguishing features, form a testimony more brilliant and powerful than the sun to the existence, unity, wisdom, and endless power of their all-wise Maker. Also, there is no element, such as air, water, light, fire, and earth, but through its performing functions, consciously and perfectly, despite its lack of consciousness, and being the means for the arrival of various well-ordered fruits from the treasure of the unseen, despite being simple, without order, and overrunning, and spreading everywhere, it testifies to your existence and unity.